Canada to contribute $485 million to help developing countries cope with COVID-19 or the CCP virus. The Canadian government is not stepping up to the plate, and the federal deficit is on track to exceed $381 billion. This is the Great White North Report.
Send money here, send money there. Our native countrymen starve and swear.
On December 14th, 2020, International Development Minister Karina Gold announced that Canada is contributing another $485 million to help developing countries cope with COVID-19. Hell, we are having a hard enough time coping ourselves, let alone anyone else. This is money that could be spent here helping Canadians, because we should be putting our own house in order before helping anyone else. If anything, I put that $485 million into buying vaccines, and then once everyone in Canada has been vaccinated, then we can put our extra vaccines to help developing countries. And when I mean developing countries, I mean real developing countries, not some of the fake ones you'll see on this list. Now, she goes on to announce during her press conference that the faster we get tests, treatments, and vaccines out to people, the sooner this pandemic can be contained. And Canada's support of global efforts to find a successful medical solutions is a win for all. So $230 million will be targeted at the procurement of treatments, allowing UNICEF to buy 3 million courses of COVID-19 antibody therapeutics after clinical trials and regulatory approvals are completed. The other $255 million will go to the access to COVID-19 tools. Accelerator, a coalition of international organizations and countries that is overseeing development, production, and equitable distribution of affordable COVID-19 vaccines. Now, I took a look at what exactly is access to COVID-19 tools. Accelerator. China's on that list. I'm not giving them the vaccine, because they'll just copy it because their own vaccine is a failure and make money off it. I have no faith or trust in international organizations like the World Health Organization. And if we're going to do it, we should do it. We should buy the vaccines and then give it to a developing country. All right, this is an article by a guy named Stephen Brown. He's a professor at the Ottawa University School of Political Studies. And he thinks that despite talking a good game when it comes to foreign aid, Canada is still not stepping up to the plate. It's clear that Canada is refusing to contribute its fair share of development assistance. Seriously, I think we've done more than our fair share of stepping up to the plate. So he's saying that the figures for 2019 released earlier reveal that Canada under the current government is less generous than the previous year, less generous than the Harper government, and less generous than its peers. Now, he's basing everything on GDP, because our overall foreign aid was 0.3% of the gross national income, and the Liberals, when they were first elected, it stood at 0.28, and then 2019 it fell to 0.27. Now, when I look at that, I see that last year we gave $6.39 billion in foreign aid last year, up from $6 billion in 2018. So yeah, it might not be a percentage of our GDP, but it's definitely a raise, accounting for inflation. Now, it does exclude the cost of settling refugees, which we took a lot. So if we exclude that, it drops to 0.24. So he's trying to say that the Trudeau government is less generous than under Harper, but how does it compare to other countries? So he goes into talking how we don't pull our weight compared to Norway and Ireland. They spend foreign aid equivalent to 1.02 and 0.31. Like I care. Like most Canadians don't care. Let Norway and Ireland throw their money away. He's saying the pandemic illustrates how development is not a charitable endeavor but a global imperative, and that it's going to have long-lasting repercussions on developing countries that go well beyond direct effects of their healthcare systems. Hey, we've been throwing money at these countries for decades, and nothing's gotten better. I've already talked about this a year ago, where we get in 2018 results, and based on what happened. Now he's saying the Liberal Party election platform vaguely promised to increase Canada's international development assistance every year towards 2030. First of all, I'd rather see more results for what we do give. And Mr. Brown, obviously, he gets paid enough that he doesn't care where his tax dollars go, unlike me, who want to see results for my tax dollars. So here we go. Here's where you go find how much Canada has given in foreign aid over the years. And who do we give it to? That's the thing that bothers me most. Not that we give money to other countries, but who do we give it to? So in 2019, we gave $6.395 billion in foreign aid. That's a large chunk of money. In 2019, we could have used that to pay off our national debt, increase our military, help our indigenous peoples with clean water. It could be used for a lot of things, that kind of money. What gets me, though, is that in 2019, we gave $41 million to the Chinese Communist Party. Why did we do that? As far as I know, Kovrig and Spavor are still sitting in a Chinese jail, and we have a couple more on death row. And you're giving them $41 million? I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but the government can give me $41 million. I won't complain. The Chinese are looking at the Canadian government like they're stupid or something. We give $8 million to North Korea. There's a waste of money. $3.1 million to Iran. Another waste of money. That goes to fund people like Hezbollah. And how did they thank us? They shot down an airliner. They shot down an airliner full of Canadian citizens last January. Lovely. Syria got $150.4 million, mostly humanitarian aid. We've taken a lot of refugees from Syria. Look, we're giving Jordan $118.2 million. Yemen gets $72.9. Somalia, probably the biggest failed state, $30.7 million. We're still giving Ethiopia, still gets $203 million. We've been giving money to Ethiopia since the 80s. It's still not working. Foreign aid doesn't work. Giving free money does not work. $38 million went to the Philippines, but South Korea got nothing, Japan got nothing, Australia gets nothing. Hell, even Brazil got 19.3. Mexico, where a lot of Canadian jobs went, got 34.2. I'd rather see that money go into law enforcement to stop drug smuggling. So all these dots represent how much money we give to certain places. Pakistan, $63.6 million. India even gets $94.5 million. Despite the fact Trudeau is not well liked, they sure like our money. So you can see all these little dots represent where we've given money to. The bigger the circle, the more the money we give. And the hypocrisy of a lot of these just astounds me. So Mr. Brown, why would I want to give money to these people? Why should I give foreign aid to all these countries in here? Pakistan, which has blasphemy laws. Iran, which is an apostate, death penalty for the apostates. A lot of these places also have death penalties for homosexuality or long prison terms. Why would I want to support them? Notice Europe, Ukraine gets $66.9 million. Belarus, 3.2, and then all the little former Yugoslavian Albania republics. So why are all these countries, and it's been going on for years, you can go to any year and look at this. It's a great tool to find out how much we give. Now, 2020 won't come out till probably the fall of 2021. We won't be able to see exactly how much we've given. And it'd be interesting to see how much we've given to China, considering they're the ones that started this pandemic in the first place, and then tried to cover it up and lie about it. So already I'm not happy with my government. I would rather take all this money and put it into a couple of countries, not all countries, and fix the goddamn issues in that country, or try to. And if it doesn't work, take the money away and try another place. Let's find solutions, because I know what you're doing is creating what's called a beggar mentality among these countries. For example, when I go to Korea and I see my Korean friends, they take me out to dinner and treat me because I'm a guest in their country. When I go to the Philippines, the home of my wife, I can't go there empty-handed. I have to pay for everybody. We have to pay for all the extended family members and friends that show up. We know many Filipinos will have to send money home. Even though their family doesn't really need it, they will still have to send stuff home. It's called a beggar mentality. My wife fully agrees with me. And it happens in a lot of these countries. So this came out on November 30th. Our federal deficit is on track to exceed $381 billion as we've continued to spend in the wake of the CCP virus. That's something that can't be helped. But giving $6 billion away for foreign aid, that could easily be used on Canadians. I know it sounds uncharitable, but at the same time, I'd rather see my tax dollars be used on Canadians. We're in a crisis of our own. We have to fix our own problems first. Once we have our own problems worked out with this pandemic, then we can go help someone else. So we're going to have a debt of $1.4 trillion, which is, they say, is going to be 50.7% of our GDP. Testing and rapid test rolls for the CCP virus vaccine kits is going to be $564.4 million. Could have used that $6 billion for that. But if you go to the world debt clock, it's a lot more. We're looking at 65.75% of our GDP goes towards our debt. We only have a $1.8 trillion economy, and we're $1.4 billion in debt. That's not sustainable. We can't keep doing that. We have things that need to be done in Canada, and it's time to do them. So all you Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think about the entire foreign aid budget. Should we be giving that much money to all these countries? Is there any country you disagree with? And let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe, whatever. I'm going to keep doing this regardless. I just know that I'm not too thrilled with some of the countries we give money to. And until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.